First contact, fatal mistake. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly before Admiral Vex Koresh as he stood on the command bridge of the Imperial Sovereign, flagship of the Zovarian Empire's 7th Conquest Fleet. His four eyes narrowed as the holographic display zoomed in on the small blue planet at the edge of an unremarkable spiral galaxy. Earth, the next conquest in the Empire's relentless expansion. Hardly worth the effort. First Officer Zol Terek commented, his gray scales shimmering under the dim lights of the bridge. Their communications are primitive. They still use combustion engines for atmospheric flight. Analysis suggests they've barely achieved interplanetary travel within their own system. Admiral Kresh's mandibles clicked in amusement. The Emperor desires this sector secured. This species will make suitable laborers for the mineral-rich moons in the outer system. His voice carried the confident tone of a commander who had conquered 17 planetary systems without a single defeat. How long until we reach their defensive perimeter? Approximately 12 Earth cycles. Admiral, the navigation officer replied. Their primitive detection systems may notice us in 4. Kresh dismissed the concern with a wave of his armored claw. By then, it won't matter. Prepare the fleet for standard conquest formation. I want minimal damage to the planet's infrastructure. The command was relayed through the massive armada, over 300 warships ranging from nimble strike cruisers to planet-killer dreadnoughts. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of Zovarian engineering, equipped with gravitic weapons, quantum phase shields, and antimatter power cores. Against such might, Earth would be nothing more than a footnote in the Empire's glorious expansion. But across the void, humanity had already noticed their approach. Deep within the Rocky Mountains, General Helena Chen stood before the assembled Joint Chiefs of Staff in the hidden command center known as Aegis Bastion. The holographic display showed the approaching alien fleet with alarming clarity. They're not even trying to hide their approach, she noted, her weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the tactical display. Either they don't know we can see them, or they don't care. Admiral Jackson Rodriguez nodded grimly. Deep space sensors picked them up 3 days ago. Based on their trajectory and formation, this isn't a diplomatic mission. The room fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled leaders. Humanity had long prepared for this moment. First contact with a hostile extraterrestrial force. Despite public perception that Earth possessed only modest space capabilities, the truth was far different. How long until they're within range of the Sentinel network? Chen asked. 36 hours, replied the Space Force commander. The Luna batteries can engage in 48. Artemis fleet is already moving to intercept position, maintaining stealth protocols. President Kamal entered the room, his face grim but determined. What are our options, General? Chen straightened. Standard first contact protocols. Mr. President, we attempt communication while positioning our forces. If they come in peace, we'll know soon enough. If not, we show them exactly why it was a mistake to underestimate humanity. Rodriguez finished. The president nodded. Make the call. Project Aegis is now active. On day 5 of the Zovarian approach, Admiral Kresh received unexpected news. Sir, we're detecting an unusual energy signature from the 3rd planet, reported the sensor officer, confusion evident in his voice. It appears to be a directed communication attempt. Kresh's inner eyelids blinked in surprise. They've detected us already. Impressive for such primitives. Put it through. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a human female in a formal blue uniform adorned with insignia Kresh couldn't decipher. This is General Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You are approaching Earth territory without authorization. State your intentions or alter your course immediately. Kresh's mouthparts twitched in what passed for a smile among his kind. These humans showed more backbone than expected, a trait he almost admired. Almost. I am Admiral Vex Koresh of the Zovarian Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our glorious domain. Surrender your planetary defenses and prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in unnecessary suffering for your population. The human showed no fear, no panic, only a cold, calculated stare that momentarily unsettled the Admiral. Admiral Kresh, Earth rejects your offer. We stand ready to defend our home. I strongly advise you to reconsider your approach. Kresh laughed, a harsh clicking sound that echoed across the bridge. With what? Our scans show outdated chemical rockets and primitive kinetic weapons. You have no shields, no gravitic drives, no quantum weaponry. What could you possibly? This conversation is over, Chen interrupted. We will consider any further approach as an act of war. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Kresh momentarily stunned by the humans' audacity. They actually believe they can fight us, he finally said, turning to his officers. Accelerate our approach. Prepare first-wave strike forces. Let's show these humans the futility of resistance. As the Zovarian fleet crossed the orbit of Mars, they encountered no resistance, no defensive stations, no warships, nothing but a few primitive satellites that the Zovarians dismissed as observation posts. Admiral Kresh grew increasingly confident. These humans were all talk, it seemed. Deploy forward strike group, he commanded. Target their primitive defense installations and communications networks. Standard shock tactics. 50 Zovarian cruisers broke formation, accelerating toward Earth with weapons charge. Their sensors swept the space ahead, finding nothing to concern the battle-hardened crews. In the Aegis Bastion Command Center, General Chen watched the approaching strike force with steady eyes. They've crossed the threshold. Artemis Fleet, you are weapons-free. Across Earth's orbit, space itself seemed to ripple and distort as advanced cloaking fields disengage. Where moments before there was nothing, now floated 73 human vessels of various sizes, the hidden teeth of Earth's defense force. On the Imperial Sovereign, alarms suddenly blared. Multiple contacts, shouted the sensor officer, his voice rising in panic. Vessels decloaking all around the strike group. Impossible, Kresh hissed. They don't have cloaking technology. But the evidence was undeniable as the tactical display filled with enemy signatures. The human ships were smaller than their Zovarian counterparts, but moved with unexpected agility, quickly surrounding the alien strike force. Before the Zovarians could reorganize, the human vessels opened fire, but rather than primitive kinetic weapons or chemical explosives, brilliant beams of coherent energy lanced out from the Earth ships, followed by swarms of sleek missiles that seemed to anticipate the evasive maneuvers of the alien vessels. Their targeting systems are locking onto our shield harmonics, reported the tactical officer. They're bypassing our defensive screens. Kresh stared in disbelief as the first Zovarian cruiser erupted in a blinding explosion. Then another, and another. The strike force was being decimated by weapons that, according to all their intelligence, the humans shouldn't possess. Full fleet advance, Kresh ordered, his voice tight with fury. Launch all fighter squadrons. Show these primitives the true might of the Empire. The massive Zovarian armada surged forward, thousands of smaller fighter craft pouring from launch bays. Surely now the humans would break, would realize the hopelessness of their situation. Instead, a new threat emerged. From Earth's moon, massive cannon emplacements that had been hidden beneath the lunar surface rose and oriented toward the approaching fleet. Before Kresh could issue new orders, they fired in unison, not energy weapons or missiles, but something far worse. Gravitational distortion waves. The science officer shouted in alarm. They're creating localized space-time warps. The effects were immediate and devastating. Dozens of Zovarian warships found themselves caught in artificial gravity wells that crushed hulls and overloaded engines. Others were flung off course, colliding with friendly vessels in cascading accidents that rippled through the formation. On the bridge of the Imperial Sovereign, Admiral Kresh gripped the command rail as his flagship shuddered under a direct hit from one of the human vessels that had somehow penetrated deep into the Zovarian formation. "This is impossible," he muttered. They were supposed to be primitives, easy conquest. First Officer Zolteric approached, his scales now pale with stress. "Admiral, we've lost 37 capital ships and over 200 fighters. The humans are deploying technologies we didn't know they possessed. Their tactics suggest they've been preparing for this encounter." Kresh's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation among his species. "Regroup the fleet. Pull back to defensive formation Delta. We need to reassess." As the surviving Zovarian ships retreated to a safer distance, Admiral Kresh stared at the tactical display, showing the unexpectedly formidable human defense forces. His 4 eyes narrowed in realization and growing dread. They had gravely underestimated these humans, and now they were paying the price. The galaxy had laughed at humanity's supposedly primitive fleet. No one was laughing now. The reckoning. Admiral Vex Kresh paced across the command bridge of the Imperial Sovereign, his clawed feet clicking against the polished floor with each agitated step. Holographic displays showed the scattered remnants of his once proud fleet regrouping at a safe distance from Earth. The defeat. No, not defeat. He corrected himself mentally. Merely a tactical setback was unprecedented in his 30 cycles of military service. "Status report," he demanded, voice pitched lower than usual to mask his growing concern. First Officer Zolteric approached with a data tablet, his scales still pale with stress. 79 capital ships lost or disabled. 326 fighter craft destroyed. 17,000 crew casualties. He paused before adding, "Human losses appear minimal. Their defensive formations remain intact." Kresh's inner eyelids flicked rapidly, a physiological tell of frustration among Zovarians that he couldn't control. How did we miss this level of technological advancement? The science officer, Mev Lane, stepped forward hesitantly. "Admiral, we've analyzed the weapons signatures. The humans are using directed energy weapons similar to our own, but with modifications we haven't encountered before. Their targeting algorithms appear to be adaptive, learning our evasive patterns in real time. And those lunar-based gravitational weapons, previously unknown technology to us," Mevlane admitted. "They're creating localized distortions in space-time fabric with remarkable precision. Our shields weren't calibrated to defend against such attacks." Kresh turned to the massive viewscreen showing the small blue planet and its single natural satellite. What else were these humans hiding? The intelligence briefings had painted them as a fractious, primitive species barely united under a handful of nation-states, with space technology limited to their immediate planetary system. Could our intelligence have been so wrong? He wondered aloud. An uncomfortable silence fell across the bridge. No one wanted to suggest the unthinkable, that the mighty Zovarian Empire had been deceived, lured into a trap by a species they'd fundamentally underestimated. "Recalibrate our shields," Kresh finally ordered. "Adapt our targeting systems. The humans caught us unprepared, but we still outnumber them. The Empire does not retreat." In the Aegis Bastion, General Chen studied the tactical display with cautious satisfaction. The first phase had gone better than expected. The Zovarians had fallen for the deception, sending their advance force into the carefully laid trap. Their regrouping, Admiral Rodriguez noted, indicating the alien fleet's movements. Defensive formation, but they're not retreating from the system. Chen nodded. As expected, their military culture won't allow them to withdraw after a single defeat. They'll analyze, adapt, and attack again, likely with their full force this time. "The Sentinel network performed exceptionally well," commented the Space Force commander. "Lunar gravity cannons exceeded effectiveness projections by 23%. "And our casualties?" President Kamo asked from his position at the head of the war table. 11 ships damaged, 3 destroyed," Rodriguez replied. 217 personnel lost." His voice tightened. "Every loss hurts, but it could have been much worse." Chen turned to the assembled command staff. "They'll be coming back more prepared. Phase 2 protocols are now in effect. All commanding officers, transmit adaptive strategy delta to your units. As the orders went out, Chen approached the president. Sir, should we attempt communication again? Offer them a chance to withdraw. Kamal considered for a moment. Yes, but make our position clear. Earth is not for conquest. They leave peacefully, or they don't leave at all. Admiral Kresh was reviewing the modified battle plans when the communication alert sounded. The humans are hailing us again, reported the communications officer. Kresh straightened his posture. Put them through. General Chen appeared on screen, her expression revealing nothing of Earth's tactical position. Admiral Kresh, your initial assault has failed. You've lost nearly a quarter of your fleet for no gain. I'm offering you one final opportunity to withdraw your forces and leave Earth space peacefully. Kresh's mandibles clicked in barely contained fury. You caught us by surprise, human. A momentary advantage that will not be repeated. The Zovarian Empire has conquered worlds far more advanced than yours. Your defeat is inevitable. Chen's expression didn't change. We've studied your previous conquests, Admiral. 17 planetary systems, all with minimal resistance. You've grown complacent, overconfident. She leaned slightly forward. Earth is different. We've been preparing for this moment for decades. A chill ran through Kresh's exoskeleton. How could they know about his previous campaigns? This is your final warning, Chen continued. Leave now, and we'll consider this matter closed. Stay, and face the full defensive capabilities of Earth. The transmission ended before Kresh could respond, leaving him unsettled. The human spoke with too much confidence, as if she knew something he didn't. Pushing aside his doubts, he turned to his officers. Prepare the fleet for full engagement. We attack in 1 hour. The second Zovarian assault came with devastating force, the entire remaining fleet advancing in tight formation, their weapons systems recalibrated to counter Earth's defenses. This time, there would be no holding back. They've adapted their shields, reported a sensor operator in the Aegis Bastion. Our directed energy weapons are showing reduced effectiveness. General Chen nodded calmly. As expected, implement countermeasure protocol Hyperion. Across Earth's defensive line, human vessels began operating in synchronized pairs, one ship creating a precise gravitational distortion, while its partner fired through the localized space-time warp. The effect transformed standard energy weapons into unpredictable twisting beams that bent around Zovarian shields, striking hulls directly. On the Imperial Sovereign, alarms blared once again. They're using some kind of gravitational lens effect to bypass our shields. The tactical officer reported, panic evident in his voice. We've lost the Vengeance and the Subjugator. Admiral Kresh slammed his claw against the command console. How are they doing this? How are their ships coordinating so precisely? The answer came moments later when the sensor officer detected unusual quantum signals passing between the human vessels. Quantum communication network, Mevlane realized with shock. They're using entangled particles for instantaneous tactical coordination. No transmission delay. Kresh stared at the tactical display in growing horror. The humans weren't just fighting with unexpected technology. They were fighting as a perfectly synchronized organism, each ship anticipating the actions of others without communication lag. Even the mighty Zovarian military, with all its discipline and training, couldn't match such perfect coordination. Launch the Void Cutters, Kresh ordered desperately. Target their command centers. The Void Cutters, the pride of the Zovarian fleet, capable of opening temporary wormholes to bypass enemy defenses, launched from the larger capital ships, their specialized drives creating ripples in space-time as they accelerated toward Earth. But the humans were ready even for this. From concealed positions around Earth's orbit, massive ring-shaped devices activated, generating powerful electromagnetic fields that caught the Void Cutters in mid-flight, collapsing their artificial wormholes, and trapping the advanced craft in localized time distortions. Impossible, Kresh roared. Those are temporal containment fields. They shouldn't have that technology. As the battle intensified, more of the humans' carefully hidden capabilities emerge. Automated defense platforms throughout the solar system activated, launching swarms of AI-guided drones that targeted Zoverian engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. From Earth itself, ground-based particle accelerators fired concentrated beams that could pierce even the thickest alien armor. The truth dawned on Admiral Kresh with crushing finality. This had never been a fair fight. The humans had deliberately projected an image of technological inferiority, while secretly preparing defenses specifically designed to counter Zoverian tactics. They had studied the Empire's conquest patterns, analyzed their technology, and built countermeasures for everything the Zoverians could throw at them. Admiral. First Officer Zoltarek's voice was strained. We've lost half our remaining fleet. The human forces are beginning to encircle our position. Kresh stared at the tactical display, watching as his ships were systematically disabled or destroyed. Pride and duty warred within him. The Empire did not retreat, but the Empire had never faced an enemy like this. "Sir, we're being hailed again," the communications officer announced. The view screen activated to show not General Chen this time, but a different human. The one they had identified as Earth's political leader, President Kamal. "Admiral Kresh," Kamal began, his voice firm but not gloating, "your fleet is surrounded. Your strategy has failed. I'm offering you one final opportunity to surrender and preserve the lives of your remaining crew." Kresh's mandibles clicked rapidly. The Zoverian Empire does not surrender. "Then perhaps it's time for new precedents," Kamal replied. "We've disabled your flagship's propulsion systems and weapons. You are effectively our prisoner. Order your remaining ships to stand down, or we will be forced to destroy them." As if to emphasize the point, targeted gravitational distortion suddenly gripped the Imperial Sovereign, holding it immobile in space. Kresh felt the deck shudder beneath his feet as auxiliary systems failed throughout the massive vessel. With bitter clarity, he realized he had no choice. He gave the order to surrender. 3 Earth days later, Admiral Vex Kresh stood in an observation room aboard an Earth orbital station, watching as the surviving Zoverian ships were escorted from the solar system by human vessels. He'd been granted limited diplomatic status rather than being treated as a war criminal, a mercy he hadn't expected. The door opened, and General Chen entered, accompanied by President Kamal. "Your ships will reach the edge of our system within 5 hours," Chen informed him. "From there, they'll have clear passage back to Zoverian space." Kresh turned to face them. "You're letting us go, after we attempted to conquer your world." Kamal nodded. "We have no interest in pursuing this conflict beyond our borders. But make no mistake, any future aggression against Earth will be met with even greater force." "How?" Kresh finally asked the question that had been consuming him. How did a supposedly primitive species prepare so thoroughly for us? Chen allowed herself a small smile. "We've known about the Zoverian Empire for nearly 40 years, Admiral. One of your scout ships crashed in our Pacific Ocean in 1984. We recovered enough technology and information to understand what we were facing. We also intercepted your long-range reconnaissance probes," Kamal added. "Instead of destroying them, we fed them carefully crafted misinformation, old technology, political divisions, limited space capabilities, a deception." Kresh realized, his inner eyelids blinking rapidly, "all to lure us in." "Partially," Chen acknowledged, "but also because we hoped you'd recognize a peaceful civilization and choose diplomacy over conquest. Your empire's reputation preceded you." Kresh stared out at the stars, the magnitude of the miscalculation weighing heavily on him. "The Emperor will not be pleased." "Then perhaps you should bring him a message," Kamal suggested. "Earth seeks no enemies among the stars. We prefer peaceful coexistence and trade, but we will defend ourselves with everything we have." As Admiral Kresh was escorted to the shuttle that would return him to his remaining fleet, he reflected on what he would tell the Emperor. How could he explain that the seemingly primitive humans had not only defeated the mighty Zoverian Empire, but had been manipulating them for decades? More importantly, how would the galaxy react when word spread that humanity, this upstart species from an unremarkable planet, had accomplished what no other civilization had managed in centuries, handing the Zoverian conquest fleet its first decisive defeat? One thing was certain: the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.